United in talks to sign 16-year-old wonder kid striker. Apparently, the Ugarte deal could now be off, with Manchester United targeting Martin Zubimendi instead. And Adrian Rabiot has apparently picked Manchester United as his next destination. These are some of the stories we will be discussing on this morning's live show. But before we get into that, please do me one small favour. Please smash a like on today's video. Let's try and see 1,000 likes on this morning's episode. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe to the channel. I'm live every single day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6 p.m. It's your best way to keep up to date with all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Everyone is welcome. Make sure you go and get involved. Right. It's match day. Everyone seems to have forgotten about that. Football is back. Manchester United play Rangers at 4 p.m. UK time today. I will be doing a watch along for this game, so make sure you come and join me for that. And there are some murmurs that apparently Leny Yoro will feature. He trained yesterday with the first team, and apparently he will feature in the game today. Let's wait and see. Because some people were saying to me yesterday, like, how can he feature? He's only just joined. He's been training with Lille for the last 2 or 3 weeks. He didn't go to the Euros, did he? So he hasn't had any international football. He is match fit. He is ready. And yeah, there was pictures, videos of him in training yesterday. So from what I've seen and what I've been told, we should see Leny Yoro in a Manchester United shirt today. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? We only signed him on Thursday, I think. And we're going to see him play already. So yeah, 4 p.m. today, I will be doing a watch along for the Manchester United Rangers game. If you want to join me for that, you're more than welcome. We have some really, really good chat on our watch alongs. So yeah, make sure you go and get involved. People are saying, is it on Manchester United TV? Yeah, it's on MUTV, I think. But yeah, we'll be doing a watch along from 4 o'clock. Right, let's start the show off by talking about Adrian Rabiot then, shall we? Because a massive story broke whilst we were all sleeping, or whilst I was sleeping at least, that apparently Adrian Rabiot has picked Manchester United as his next club. We all know that Rabiot is available as a free agent, having left Juventus literally like 2 days ago. He didn't sign a new contract. Fabrizio Romano this morning is reporting that Adrian Rabiot dreams of Premier League football. He says his priority is the Premier League and will join as a free agent. He says Rabiot also has proposals from other leagues, but he mainly wants the Premier League. He says that Liverpool are not currently working on a deal to sign Adrian Rabiot. Now, the story that came out last night from a very reliable French journalist who has had really, really good information in the past around specifically French footballers, is that apparently Adrian Rabiot is now close to joining Manchester United. It says that his entourage, i.e. his agent, are currently discussing terms with Man United, but the player desperately wants to join Manchester United. This is from a guy called Romain Collet-Godin, who, as I said, is a very, very reliable French journalist. Let's do a poll on Adrian Rabiot. You can let me know in the comment section as well. I know we speak about Rabiot a lot, but it is a news show and I can't not bring you the news. Let's do a poll. Simple one. Do you want Rabiot as free agent signing? Simple question. You can let me know in the comment section. So if you're watching this video back on repeat, obviously you can't get involved in the poll. The polls are only available for the live show. So if you do want to get involved in the polls, make sure you join us 8:30, 1:30 and 6. The poll is now set up. And if you are watching live, obviously make sure you go and get involved in that. I'm kind of 50-50 with Rabiot. It all depends on what players are going to leave, right? If, say, Christian Eriksen goes and we bring in Rabiot as his replacement, I think that's good business. Eriksen's 32. He's on big wages. He's got 1 year left of his contract. And I don't think he's got the legs anymore for the Premier League. Eriksen, that is. I think he's a little bit past it. In international football, he's fine because it's a lot slower. But in the Premier League, it's literally end to end. And I think Eriksen looks a little bit off it. So if someone said to me, Christian Eriksen's going to go, we're going to get 5 million for him. He's got 1 year left of his contract. 5 million. That would be straight profit because we signed him for free last summer. And we get Adrian Rabiot as a replacement. I would probably do that because it's a low-cost option. And it would then allow us to go and spend more money in other areas of the midfield, i.e. Zubimendi, i.e. João Neves, i.e. Ugarte, like, who we'll talk about a little bit later on in the show. But I wouldn't say that, like, I dream of signing Adrian Rabiot, you know? It would more be if later on in the window, McTominay leaves, Eriksen leaves, Hannibal Mejbri leaves, then, like, yeah, go and get Rabiot for free. If he wants to come to the club, he supposedly picked Manchester United. He's desperate to play in the Premier League. I think it probably would be an okay signing, you know? But if someone said to me, we can sign Ugarte Zubimendi and João Neves, I would do that, obviously. But you've just got to be realistic. Like, this isn't a game of FIFA. We have to look at the situation as an overall. We're probably only going to sign one big name central midfielder for a lot of money, and that will be someone like Zubimendi, João Neves, or Manuel Ugarte. We won't get all three, or even two. So, but I do think we still need two midfielders, you know? So I'm 50-50. It's hard for me to say yes or no at this moment in time. Do I think Man United should sign him now? No. But if later on in the window, as I said, Eriksen leaves, McTominay leaves, Hannibal Mejbri leaves, I think, yeah, if you can get Rabiot for free and we need two midfielders, I think he's a decent option. Like, that's my opinion on it. But it'll be interesting to see what you lot think. Would you like to see Adrian Rabiot at Manchester United? There's quite a lot of people in the fan base who are obsessed over this, like, only wanting players that want Manchester United. Well, this story that's come out this morning is specifically saying that Rabiot wants to join Manchester United. So some of you, for that reason alone, might want him, you know? Somebody who wants to come and play for the badge. I don't know. It's a very difficult one to give an opinion on right this second, because obviously we don't know how the rest of the transfer window is going to pan out. We don't know who's going to leave. We don't know what other options are available. Yeah, at the moment, I'm saying no, but later on in the window, if players leave and we need another midfielder, then you can let me know. I probably would. Yeah, so just to give you the full report, Juventus tried to give him a new contract, right? They offered him 7 million euros a season, which is about 150 grand a week they offered him, and he said no. So that gives you a bit of an idea of how much money Manchester United would have to pay him. And apparently that was 150 grand a week net. So net means after tax. I don't know how much tax is in Italy. I have no idea, but I imagine 150 grand net would probably be maybe 250 grand gross. Does that make sense? So yeah, he rejected 150 grand net at Juventus. So he's realistically going to want 250 grand a week at Manchester United minimum, maybe more, which probably then does put me off. If we could get him for like 150k a week, I think he's a good signing to have, but that's not going to be the case. He's going to want as much possible money as he can. He's going to want a big signing on fee. His mother, who's his agent, apparently wants a huge signing on fee. So yeah, it's a relatively, what feels like it should be a cheap deal is going to end up costing Manchester United a lot of money. And that's what puts me off. And I think unless you remove someone like Eriksen, someone like McTominay, someone like Hannibal, it doesn't really make much sense at this moment in time because we don't really need him, I don't think, Rabiot. If you think about it, you've got Mason Mount, you've got Bruno, you've got Christian Eriksen. Those are all three attacking players, just like Rabiot. You've also got McTominay, and you've got Mainu, and you've got Hannibal. You've got like 5 or 6 players who can effectively do the same thing as Adrian Rabiot. So yeah, for me at the moment it's a no. But if we get later down into the window and we're desperate for a midfielder and we've spent, you know, big money on other areas, I think going and getting him for free is probably a good deal. But at the moment, no. But yeah, let me know what you think about that in the comments section below. Everyone who's just joined the video, if you could do me a small favour and smash a like, that'd be really, really appreciated. I've set a likes target of 1,000 for today's episode. So if you have just joined, please go and do that. And if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe as well. We are just under 10 subscribers away from 31,400. So let's make sure we hit that by the end of the video. Everyone who's watching for the first time, please go and subscribe. I'm live every day at 8:30, 1:30 and 6 p.m. UK time. I've just dropped a link in the chat to subscribe. So make sure you go and do that. Right, let's see what people are saying in the chat. James says apparently his mother, the agent, is a nightmare to deal with. Yeah, I've heard about that. Anderson says the tax in Italy is less than in England. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't know anything about tax in England. So if anybody knows what 7 million net is, okay. So Ryan in the chat saying that apparently he's asked for 9 million a season. Let's see what that works out per week. So 9 million per week it's about 185 grand a week. That's what he's asking for apparently. I mean, that does seem like quite a lot, but when you think that Harry Maguire's on 200k a week and Casemiro's on 350k a week, 180k a week isn't terrible for Rabiot, all things considered. Bruno's on 250k a week. Mason Mount's on 250k a week. I thought he was going to want like 250, 300k for some reason. I thought he would have been like at the very, very top, and that's what put me off him. I would be tempted then. If it is around 185k a week, as someone's told me in the chat, I would be tempted. But as I said, I wouldn't bother signing him now. I'd wait till later in the window, see who we can move out, see how much wages we can clear before we start giving out stupid wages to someone like Adrian Rabiot at the age of 29. Jihan says, we don't need Adrian Rabiot. Yeah, we don't, mate. You're right. We don't at the moment. That's the point I'm making, right? We don't need Adrian Rabiot today, but if players leave, I think he is a good option. That's what I'm saying. Forever Red says, how many other teams are in for Rabiot? That tells you everything. That's a fair point. Fair point. Andrew in the chat is asking about Frankie de Jong. Oh, God. Frankie de Jong. Not again. Yeah, there was a story that broke last night about Frankie de Jong. Obviously, it's a news show, so let's talk about it and see what everyone thinks. Oh, God. When you type in Frankie de Jong on Twitter, right, the first thing that comes up is the Fabrizio Romano tweet from 2022. It was literally 2 years ago to the day. Manchester United have reached a full agreement with Barcelona for Frankie de Jong, package worth 85 million euros. 2 years ago to the day, that was, on Fabrizio Romano's Twitter. What could have been, eh? Yeah, so in relation to Frankie de Jong, I can see loads of people asking me about it. Apparently, Barcelona have dropped their asking price for Frankie de Jong to as low as £40 million. And apparently it says Barcelona are desperate to sell Frankie de Jong this summer and have offered him to multiple clubs, including Manchester United. It says the asking price for him is now only £40 million, but the issue is his wages. Frankie de Jong is on £600,000 a week. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous. That's crazy, crazy money. That was more than what Ronaldo got paid at Manchester United. Our highest earner at the moment is Casemiro on 350k a week. And I think most people think that's mad. Rashford gets absolute abuse because he's on 300k a week and people call him lazy and say that it's a disgrace. Imagine if we signed someone on 600k a week. Like, that's just a recipe for disaster. I wouldn't do that. I know Frankie de Jong is a good player, but 600k a week, that's mental money. Even if you get him for 40 million, right? 600 grand a week per year is 31 million a year. He would probably want, what, a 4 or 5 year contract? Let's say a 4-year contract, just go on the low side. If we wanted to sign Frankie de Jong for 40 million, people are like, oh, that sounds great. Let's do it. 40 million, that's a bargain. And he wants 600k a week over a 4-year deal. It would be 125 million pounds in wages across a 4-year contract. So 125 plus 40 million transfer fee, plus probably some signing on fee. You're probably getting close to 200 million across a 4-year deal for Frankie de Jong, who I think is starting to get a little bit injury prone. Obviously, he missed the Euros. He's just turned 27. He doesn't fall within Ineos's under 25 rule, and he doesn't fall within Ineos's wage bracket. So I would 100% swerve Frankie de Jong. If it was like 100, 200k a week, I think it would be an option, but I still maybe wouldn't be 100% set on it because, like, we do have other players that can play in that same position, and I think we do need, like, a very, very specialist CDM, whereas I think he's more of a CM, isn't he? He's more of like a box-to-box midfielder, Frankie de Jong. Yeah, so for me, Frankie de Jong to Manchester United, I would say no. 2 years ago, great. At the age of 25, I thought it would have been an absolutely unbelievable signing. But at the age of 27, he's missed this season, right? This season alone, he has missed 28 games through injury in 1 year. Last season, he missed 20 games. No wonder Barcelona want to sell him. They're paying him 600 grand a week, and he missed nearly half of their season this year and a third of their season the year before. So I think Manchester United will stay well clear of Frankie de Jong. I would be very, very surprised. Very surprised. Maria's saying, where are you getting 600k a week from? It's literally on the news story that I'm reading off my screen. It says, it is believed that Frankie de Jong is on 600 grand a week, and this is the problem for any club. That is why Barcelona are asking for 35, 40 million. Because imagine if Barcelona were like, we want 80 million for him, and you've got to pay him 600 grand a week. Like, he's never going to do that, is he? I think the reason why his wages are so high, yeah, like literally, if you just type in on Google, Frankie de Jong wages, it says Frankie de Jong earns a salary of 31 million per year, which is 721,000 euros a week. This is on like 5 or 6 finance websites. It's not on like the Daily Mail or, you know, tabloid newspapers. It's on actual finance websites saying that he earns 700,000 gross per week plus bonuses. And this just shows why Barcelona are in such a mess. Like, they've done this with loads of their players, haven't they, Barcelona? And no wonder they're like on the brink of going bankrupt and are in loads of debt. Let's just have a quick look. Yeah, my head's just blown this morning. Robert Lewandowski at Bayern is on 650,000 euros a week, and Frankie de Jong on 720,000. So, yeah, I mean, I would stay well clear of Frankie de Jong. He's a good player, but for 600,000, I just think it's an absolute terrible deal. Somebody in the chat saying, what's going on with Manuel Ugarte? Right, we'll talk about Ugarte in a minute, but first of all, I want to talk about Martin Zubimendi. So now we're going to do a poll on this, actually, and let's see the results of the last poll quickly. Do you know what I love, right? I love it when we do a poll and it's 50-50. I love that because that means that people have opinions. So I want people to let me know your opinions on Adrian Rabiot. Get them in, because the poll we've done this morning, the question was simple. Do you want Adrian Rabiot as a free signing? 49% of you said yes, and 51% of you said no. Mad. And the next question is going to be this. Who would you rather? I like these ones. Who would you rather? And you can either pick Zubimendi or Ugarte. So the poll's set up. Again, if you're watching the video back on repeat, you can't get involved in the poll because it's not live anymore, but you can let me know in the comment section. Who would you prefer, Martin Zubimendi or Manuel Ugarte? They're both specialist CDMs and they are both players that we've been linked to. So let's start off with Martin Zubimendi because this is the new exciting news and I want to start with that. Otherwise, we'll just talk about Manuel Ugarte again. Apparently, Manuel Ugarte is available for £35 million. Okay? 35 million. Remember, PSG are asking for £59 million for Manuel Ugarte. Zubimendi is 25 years of age, specialist defensive midfielder, has been compared to people like Busquets. Am I saying he's as good as Busquets? No, of course not, but he has been compared. Obviously, he's Spanish, plays in the same position, all the rest of it. Currently plays football for Real Sociedad, came through their youth academy, has 3 years left of his deal. And he's available this summer for around 35 million. I think it's an absolute bargain. I would go and sign him in a heartbeat. I think he's exactly what we need. He does have a release clause, but apparently there is an understanding that Real Sociedad would be willing to negotiate because at the moment no one's triggered the release clause and Real Sociedad want to sell him, not because they don't need him, but because they need to raise funds. So there's definitely an opportunity here for Manchester United to get a bargain. Worst case scenario, they pay his release clause of 50 million. But as I said, there is an understanding from Real Sociedad that a deal for around £35 million could be enough to get Martin Zubimendi to Manchester United. So this story broke last night from James Ducker from The Telegraph saying that Manchester United are now in talks with Real Sociedad over signing Martin Zubimendi this summer. Now, I've been told, and this is probably going to surprise some people, that apparently Manuel Ugarte is not actually our number one target in the CDM position. Now, does this remind you of anything? Manchester United spend a month negotiating a deal for De Ligt. Everyone thinks that De Ligt's the number one target. Everyone thinks that De Ligt have signed. Some people are even saying he already has signed. There was that journalist that we all poke fun at saying that he'd already agreed a deal and the deal was done and, you know, he'd already signed the contract. Do you remember last week? And now we're looking at someone else. It's exactly the same as what happened with De Ligt and Euro. Manchester United, I think, are using other players as kind of tactically. Does that make sense? So people think we want Ugarte. PSG think we'll pay anything for Ugarte. They're quoting us 59 million, 70 million euros. Crazy, crazy money. But really, quietly in the background, Manchester United are looking at other options. And Martin Zubimendi seems to be that option. I personally think Zubimendi is a much better option for Manchester United. I've seen him a lot more than I've seen Manuel Ugarte. At the Euros, he was really good. I watched him quite a lot in La Liga last season. And as a central defensive midfielder, he is exactly what Manchester United need. He's the perfect fit. So for me personally, if we could get Zubimendi for 35 million, I would go and do that deal right now. And do you know what I would do, right? I would go and sign him. And then I would go to Benfica and match PSG's bid for João Neves. That's what I would be doing. 100%. João Neves is apparently available for about 75 million euros, which is about 60 million pounds. So you could get Zubimendi for 35 million, and then you could go and get João Neves for 60 million. That is a combined fee of about 95, which is only 30 million more than what PSG want for Manuel Ugarte. Like, I honestly think, as CBK says in the chat, I honestly think we're playing mind games with these clubs. I do. And I think it's working so far because every single day we think, okay, it's going to be Manuel Ugarte. It's a done deal. It's going to be... And then there's always a twist in the tail. And the twist in the Manuel Ugarte tail is Martin Zubimendi. I 100% think that we should go for him, but it'd be interesting to see what you lot think. Obviously, there's a poll set up in the live chat, and if you're watching back on repeat, you can get involved in the comment section. What would you rather, Martin Zubimendi or Manuel Ugarte? Let me know. We've got over 1,000 people watching the show live now, which is absolutely amazing. Thank you very much for joining me this morning. Please do make sure to smash a like on the video if you haven't already and subscribe to the channel. We're now down to 2 subscribers to get to 31,400. So if this is your first time watching, please do subscribe. Make sure you get involved. It's completely free content. Doesn't cost any money. And let's hit 31,400 by the end of today's stream. Go and subscribe now if you haven't already. Salim says Zubimendi is the better option if we want to play good football. Fair enough. Kiski says get Zubimendi and do a loan deal for Ugarte. I think Mainu may get injured. Okay, I don't know where you're getting that from, but fair enough. You can see the future. I've seen he's got a new haircut, but I don't know anything about injuries. Lisanne says yes, we should go for Zubimendi and then get Ugarte on loan. PSG aren't going to loan us Ugarte. Unfortunately, that was confirmed yesterday. It's not going to happen. Apparently, they want the cash. And we know why they want the cash, don't we? They want the cash so they can go and sign João Neves. So, Manuel Ugarte on loan, I don't think is going to be an option anymore, unfortunately. And that's why I genuinely think that this Zubimendi deal is a lot more likely to materialise because he has a release clause. He's a lot cheaper, and I think he's a better player, to be honest. I do. I think he's a much better player than Manuel Ugarte, and I think he would be a much better fit at Manchester United. From what I've seen of him, obviously, I don't watch PSG every single week, and to be fair, he barely even played for PSG. Like, he sat on the bench for most of the season, but from what I've seen of Martin Zubimendi, he looks like the real deal. He is literally a specialist CDM. Think of the likes of Rodri, Busquets. Like, he is that same kind of mould. Obviously, I'm not saying he's as good as them, but he is that same kind of mould player. And we need our version of a Rodri because we don't have that. We thought Casemiro was going to be that, but he just isn't, is he? Like, if we'd have signed Casemiro 5 years ago, he would have been our Rodri. But at the age of 30, when we signed Casemiro, he was already on the decline. And that was, again, a fault of the previous ownership of the John Murters, the Richard Arnolds, who brought in brand signings. They brought in players with marketing value opposed to players with actual sporting value. And that's where Ineos are changing things. And the other thing with Martin Zubimendi as well, he fits the age criteria. He's 25, which is at the top end of their kind of age criteria. He's not on big wages. So it's a simple deal to do, really. And if we struggle to negotiate, we can always just play the release clause. The release clause is available there for £50 million, right? But as I said, there is an understanding that apparently Real Sociedad will accept less. He's currently only paid 45 grand a week at Real Sociedad. Like, he would obviously want to come to Manchester United. He would earn big money. Well, not big money compared to what he's earning now. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat, shall we? Ian says, don't forget to drink your tea. I don't have any tea this morning, mate. I've just got my water. I've already had my tea. But thank you for the reminder, though. I really, really appreciate it. Lumen says, Kieran, would it be wise to have a bigger squad in case of injuries? No, I don't think so. I think bigger squads are usually quite risky. We saw what happened at Chelsea when they had a big squad. They had players who didn't even have a seat in the dressing room. And that then created arguments. It created feuds. It created a bad environment, didn't it? And I don't think that's sensible, to be honest. And I know that after last season, everyone's scared and in shock about the possibility of us having another injury crisis and us seeing Johnny Evans and Maguire starting every week again. Like, I remember this time last year, we were sat on this channel. We just started. There was probably about 50 people watching. we literally started the channel a year ago, by the way. A year ago, we started this channel and we were all sat here saying, I bet you will never see Maguire and Johnny Evans play for Man United as a centre-back partnership. And within about the first month of the season, they were already starting because of our injury crisis. But to answer your question, I think we already have a pretty bloated squad, I think. And we are trying to get rid of some of those players. You know, if you think about our squad as a whole, in certain positions, we're really, really bloated. Like on the right wing, for example, you've got Sancho, you had Greenwood, Ahmad, Pellistri, Rashford, Garnacho. There's probably someone else I've forgotten. Like we've got 6 or 7 players who can play on the left wing or the right wing. Bruno's played there before. So we are bloated in certain areas. I think it's just in other areas we're short. So this summer it's all about getting rid of players in the positions where we have lots of cover, i.e. the right wing. So you let go of Greenwood, you let go of Pellistri, maybe you let go of Sancho, and then using that money to reinforce the areas where we're short, i.e. CDM. We only have Casemiro, who might leave. Right back, we only have Dalot and Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka's probably going to leave. Left back, we've got an injury crisis. Luke Shaw and Malacia injured for the whole season. So I think the next few signings, it's really, really important to focus on plugging those gaps throughout the spine of our team. You know, that's what needs to happen at Manchester United. It's not just about big fancy signings, it's about clever signings. And I think Martin Zubimendi, he's not a particularly like big brand name, is he? If you wanted a big brand name, you'd go for Frankie de Jong, or you'd go for a Kimmich or someone like that, you know? Like that would be a Glazer type signing. Whereas Martin Zubimendi is a kind of signing that like a Man City would do or an Arsenal would do. It's a player who is being signed purely for footballing reasons, not for brand reasons, not for how many likes they've got on Instagram, not for how many followers they've got on TikTok, not for how many shirts they're going to sell in different regions. He is purely a football specialist. And that's why I'm really, really keen on him. And I think he'd be a great addition to the squad. But yeah, obviously we'll wait and see how the rest of the window goes. We've got a super chat coming in from Melcher. He says, I assume it's a he. It might be a she. I don't know. Let me know. They say Zubimendi hits 53 passes per 90 minutes. Rodri 114. Okay. That's a good comparison. But arguably, Rodri's playing for Man City, the best footballing side in the world, and Zubimendi's playing for Real Sociedad. So I get your point, and thank you for the super chat. I really, really appreciate it. And thank you for contributing to the conversation on the channel. But how many passes per 90 would Zubimendi get in the Man City team? He'd probably get way more than the 53 you've mentioned, you know? So it's a little bit of an unfair comparison because, like, Man City are the best footballing side in the world, aren't they? With the best manager in the world. So, and in all respect to Real Sociedad, like Real Sociedad isn't Man City. So, but I get your point. And thank you for your contribution as well. I really appreciate that. Balvinda says, Ugarte is too expensive. We should save the money and get Zubimendi. I agree. Do you know what I really like, though, is when we do these polls and it's literally split down the middle. It was the same with the last one, and it's the same with this one. 51% of people watching the video today want Ugarte, and 49% of people want Zubimendi. I just like that because it means that everyone has opinions. And the beautiful thing about this channel, and why I love doing this so much, is that everyone shares their opinions in a non-toxic way. Like, there's nobody arguing in the chat, and it's just, that's how it should be. I know football is a very opinionated sport, but it's great that, you know, we can all come together. We all have the same mutual interest, which is Manchester United to do well. We all come together. We have good conversation. And yeah, I just like that. And it's good. It's a really, really nice place to be. So big ups to all of you for being a part of this. Tenderloin says Zubimendi would be awesome. And Hidden says, don't forget that Man City have 115 charges. There you go. You got to throw it in there, don't you? We can't forget about that. I was saying that the other day, right? Does anybody else find this funny? Rival fans are more bothered about how much money we supposedly paid for Lenny Yoro than they are about Man City's charges. When was the last time you saw a rival fan talk about Man City's charges? All they care about is trying to say that we paid 70 million for Lenny Yoro. Like, every single fan base, apart from Man United, is uniting against us to try and make out that we've been mugged off by Lille for Lenny Yoro. Like, why are they not combining that effort into Man City? Everyone's scared of us, I'm telling you. People actually think we're on the way back. I spoke to my mate who's an Arsenal fan the other day, and he was like, mate, you guys are moving crazy at the moment. He was like really impressed, you know? And you know what? That bridges me nicely onto Arsenal and bridges me nicely onto why the rival fans are so upset with us. And that's because we're just about to sign, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's looking likely, we're just about to sign one of the most exciting young strikers in the world. And that's not me over-egging the pudding, okay? The guy's name is Chido Martin, 16 years of age, currently plays football for Arsenal in the under-21s team. Absolutely unbelievable talent. He scored 32 goals last season in 20 games. He scored 7 goals in one game last season against Norwich. 7. Go and check him out. Very, very tall, very strong, only 16 years of age. He was at Carrington yesterday. He was having a tour with Ruud van Nistelrooy. I mean, what more could you want, right? You're a 16-year-old striker. He's from Denmark. And you come to do a tour of Carrington. And who takes you on that tour? Ruud van Nistelrooy. One of the greatest goal scorers in my lifetime anyway. I would say he's one of the greatest goal scorers in the Premier League. Definitely Ruud van Nistelrooy. Absolutely love the guy. Imagine that, being taken round Old Trafford and Carrington by Ruud van Nistelrooy. And if Manchester United want to bring in the big guns, they could get Cantona down there as well. Like, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I think we underestimate the appeal that having someone like Ruud van Nistelrooy working for Manchester United brings. You know, imagine Xerxes, Rashford, all of these people learning off Ruud van Nistelrooy. But yeah, so the story came out with David Ornstein. He says Manchester United are now exploring a deal to sign Chido Motin from Arsenal after his deal expired. So he's a free agent. It says Arsenal made what they felt was a fair offer for the youth striker, but he decided he wanted to leave. It says the 16-year-old visited Manchester United this week. Discussions now ongoing. Others are interested, but the player is keen on United. So this came out yesterday from David Ornstein and from an account called Academy Swoop, who is a good account, posts stuff about effectively our academy players. Joshua in the chat saying, Kieran, it was in 67 minutes. There you go. This guy scored 7 goals in 67 minutes. I think it was in the Premier League under 18s or under 21s competition. Honestly, go and check him out. He is an unbelievable talent. Like, I was speaking to my mate who supports Arsenal, and he was absolutely devastated yesterday. He said he's the best player from Arsenal's youth academy that he's ever seen in his lifetime. And we're going to get him. Fingers crossed. He came to Old Trafford yesterday, came to Carrington, and apparently he wants to join Manchester United. If there's anybody in the chat who watches him regularly, let me know. I've only watched like clips on him and obviously checked out his stats and all the rest of it. He's only 16, so he wouldn't be in the first team. He'd go into the youth team, I imagine, and then maybe join the first team in like a year or two. Benny says, hopefully Højlund and Eriksen have a chat with him as well to get the deal over the line. Yeah, obviously they're from Denmark, aren't they? Hopefully they go and seal that deal for us. And I just love it. The rival fans are literally hating us at the moment, aren't they? Because we're taking all of the players. We're taking all of the players and we're being run like a proper football club. And the funny thing now is, players actually want to come to Manchester United. Even though we're not in the Champions League, we've just signed Leny Yoro. PSG wanted him. He rejected PSG. Liverpool wanted him. He didn't go there. Real Madrid wanted him but didn't pay the money. So I'm not going to say he rejected Real Madrid. He would have gone to Real Madrid if they'd have paid the money. But the fact of the matter is, we are an attractive proposal again. We are, I think. And you can see that in the transfer window. Xerxes was meant to go to AC Milan. He came to Manchester United. Leny Yoro, PSG, Liverpool, Real Madrid after him. He's ended up at Manchester United. This kid from Arsenal, he's apparently gone to see Bayern Munich, other clubs, and he still wants to come to Manchester United and has rejected Arsenal. Like, yeah, and no wonder the rival fans are crying about us. Doesn't mean we're going to win the league next season, no. But what it does mean is that we're cementing a positive foundation for the future, okay? And it means that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we should then be challenging for the title, I think. That's my expectation. My expectations for next season are still the same, by the way. I know everyone's very excited at the moment, but crazy things can happen in football. We might start the season and Bruno, Leny Yoro and Højlund might get injured, you know? Like, that could happen. So my expectations for next season are still that we win the Europa League. That's the absolute minimum. Another trophy. That would be 3 trophies in 3 years. A European trophy. And finish in top 6. That's my minimum. Obviously, I want us to win the league. Obviously, I want us to win the FA Cup. But you have to be realistic in your expectations. We've got to be patient. Like, things aren't just going to happen overnight. Maybe we'll be sat here in a year's time and we'll have just won the league and we'll all be there saying, you thought we'd finish in top 6. And I would love to be proved wrong. I would love to, but I would much rather go into the season with an element of patience than go into the season thinking Erik ten Hag should win the league, otherwise he should be sacked. Because I just don't think that's realistic. I think Erik ten Hag's the right man for the job. I think we've got an elite team around him now, the Ruud van Nistelrooy, the Rene Harks, the David, what's his name? My brain's gone. All of his team around him, Omar Barada, Dan Ashworth, etc. We have that elite team around him now. The foundations are there, and we just have to be patient to get to the next step, okay? And that's my take on it as well. But I'd be interested to see how everyone in the fan base is feeling this morning. Where do you think Manchester United will finish this season? Like, what is your expectations? Let me know in the comment section now. So Reg is saying top 4. Yami says top 4. Let me know. I'm interested to see what other Man United fans have to say. Where do you think we will finish this coming season? And everyone who's still in the video, if you could do me a favour, if you haven't liked the video yet, please go and do that. We've got well over 1,000 people watching now, and I've set a likes target of 1,000. And we are now one away from 31,400 subscribers. So please do subscribe if you haven't already. I've just dropped a link in the chat to do that. Go and subscribe. Let's hit 31,400 by the end of the video. Jezzo says it feels good to be a Man United fan. And Cool Gamer Boy says, do you think Lenny Yoro will be in the squad for the game against Rangers? Apparently he is. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see whether he travels. He trained yesterday. He's match fit. Obviously, he trained with Lille over the last couple of weeks. So I think he will be there, to be honest, Lenny Yoro. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see. Like, I don't have the flight information or anything. But from what I've been told, Lenny Yoro will be at least some part of the game today. He might play half of the game. So, yeah. Because he's match fit. There's no risk in it. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat today. Everyone's getting in their season predictions. Keep getting them in. I will read out some in a minute. I'm sticking with top 6 and Europa League. That's my expectation. That's what I hope to happen. Obviously, if something better than that happens, I'll be very, very happy. But yeah, I just don't want to be unrealistic. Fabrizio Romano's just come out as well about Chido Obi Martin. He says, Arsenal consider Chido Obi Martin gone. It says, despite a big proposal from Arsenal, he has decided to leave. Fabrizio says, Chido visited Manchester United yesterday and they are now pushing to sign him. So it looks like we will get this guy over the line. Really, really excited about him. Like, think about the core spine of the team we're building, right? Chido Obi Martin, 16 years of age. Genuinely one of the most exciting young strikers in the world. Lenny Yoro, 18. Kobe Mainoo, 19. Garnacho, 19. Then you've got like Højlund, Xerxes, Ahmad. They're all like 21, 22. We're building a team for the future here. And I'm here for it. I'm so excited. I think the future does look bright at the moment. And I'm just glad that our transfer policy has changed and that we're just not signing like really old players who have no kind of future. They're short-term options. We're literally signing players for our future. We're creating an elite mentality for the future. So I'm really happy about that. Anderson says, without European football, we need to challenge for the title. But we have got European football, mate. We're in the Europa. That's still European football. I'm going to do a poll. Because people are asking me to do a poll about season predictions. So the last poll, 50% of people watching the video want Ugarte. And 50% of people want Zubimendi. That's crazy. It's literally split directly down the middle. Okay, so what is your expectation for the season? Let's say win Premier League, top 3, top 4, top 6. I think that's good. Again, anybody who's watching back on repeat, I want you to let me know in the comment section. What is your expectation for the season? You can only do 4 options, so I've just done for the Premier League. You can either pick win the Premier League, top 3, top 4, or top 6. I'm sticking with top 6 and win the Europa League. And that's at this point. If we go and sign Zubimendi, a striker, a new right winger, a left back, another centre back, then I would probably push that up higher. But it's hard to say we're going to finish top 4 when I don't know who's going to leave. You know, if Maguire goes, Lindelof goes, McTominay goes, a couple of others go, and we bring in like 4 or 5 more players, then yeah, great, top 4. But at the moment, I'm saying top 6. Darren says number 21 is coming. Mate, if 21... Oh, God. That would be amazing, wouldn't it, if we won the league this season? Anything's possible. I mean, Leicester won the Premier League, and I think they were 2,000 to 1 in the odds to win the league. So you can never say never in football. We do have the players. It's just, it all depends on other teams, doesn't it? If Man City get loads of injuries, if Arsenal get loads of injuries, if Liverpool get loads of injuries, like, it is a possibility. Nothing is impossible in football. But yeah, I just don't think in our development at the moment, if we go up against the full strength Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, like, I don't think we're there yet, but you never know. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat. The Red Devil says, I think we'll win another FA Cup. Yeah, I would like an FA Cup, but I would like the Europa League. That's my kind of expectation. I would love the Europa League. I know we've won it before, but it is a European trophy. I think it's kind of the natural development. Yeah, I think it's the natural development, isn't it? There's a bit of an update on Matthias de Ligt as well, everybody, because I know people keep asking me about Matthias de Ligt. Apparently, Bayern Munich are saying to Man United they've got to pay 50 million euros plus add-ons, and they're not dropping the price. 50 million euros is 42 million pounds. I don't know how much the add-ons are, but 50 million euros for a player they want to sell, for a player who is sitting on the bench and Eric Dyer is starting ahead of him, I don't think there's any value in that deal. For a player who's missed 20 games through injury every season since he was 19, he's 24 years old now. He missed 30 games in a season a couple of years ago. I think they're having a laugh, to be honest, asking for 50 million euros. I thought it would be somewhere closer to like 40 million euros, maybe 45 tops. But yeah, apparently the headline this morning is that Bayern have said to Manchester United, either you pay us 50 million plus add-ons, or we're not going to sell him. So at the moment, Man United are like, no, effectively. Because the thing you have to remember is, right, for that amount of money, they can probably get Branthwaite now. And we know that they're obsessed with Branthwaite. We know that... I always give you the reasons why they want Branthwaite, okay? And I'll do it again quickly. So they want Branthwaite because of the homegrown quota. I think you need 8 homegrown players, so he would be one of them. They want Branthwaite because he's played under Ruud van Nistelrooy at PSV before. They want Branthwaite because he can play as a left-sided centre-back, a right-sided centre-back, and as a left-back. So it means we don't have to sign a left-back. And they want Branthwaite because he has Premier League experience and he's not injury-prone. So for me personally, unless de Ligt was going to be some like cheap deal, £35 million, that's what I was hoping it would be, I don't think Man United will go for it, because they will look at Branthwaite and think, for the same amount of money, we can get somebody who, for all of those reasons I just listed, is probably a better option. I think he's a bit younger as well, isn't he, Branthwaite? Let me just check that. Yeah, Branthwaite's 22 and de Ligt is 24. Yeah, so he's 2 years younger as well. So, yeah, I think the de Ligt one effectively is on pause until either they drop their asking price. Well, yeah, they have to drop their asking price effectively. Bayern need to drop their asking price. Otherwise, Man United are going to go elsewhere. And as it stands at the moment, Bayern aren't willing to do that. They want the 50 million plus add-ons, or they can't have the player. And Man United are now looking at the situation with Everton. Obviously, their sale fell through. They're looking at that situation thinking, we can go and get a better player, in their opinion, for the same amount of money. It's kind of a no-brainer, really. But let's do a poll on that. Why not? We'll do one final poll before we end the show. So in relation to the last poll, 57% of people who watched the video today are saying they think we should finish top 4. 24% say top 3 and 14% say win the Premier League. So most people think top 4 is the expectation for this season, which I think is probably fair. And let's do a quick one on this. What would you rather? Manchester United will be able to get Branthwaite for 50 million, I reckon. Definitely. So again, if you're watching back on repeat, you can't get involved in the poll. You have to be on the live show. But the question is simple. What would you rather? So both of these players are going to cost 50 million. That's the general headline. Bayern want 50 million. Man United offered 45 for Branthwaite and it was rejected. 50 million should be enough to get Branthwaite. What would you rather? Branthwaite for 50 million or de Ligt for 50 million? You can let me know in the poll. Anderson says, is there any news about Nori to Manchester United? No, nothing about Nori. Someone's saying that Obi Martin scored 10 goals against Liverpool. Nana says, why isn't United hijacking the Calafiori deal? He's too much money. It's too much money. Like, we can't spend 40 million plus on 5-6 players this window unless players are going to leave. And we know that the priority at the moment is a CDM. That's where the money's going to be spent, and another centre-back. So as much as we need a new left-back and a right-back, it's going to be dependent on sales. Wan-Bissaka probably needs to go for us to then go and sign a new left-back or a right-back. That's the fact of the matter. And I know that's frustrating. I know people want, more signings, but we've got to be careful. You can't just spend ridiculous amounts of money. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in a situation like Everton were last season, where they get a points deduction. So you've got to be relatively careful. Do you know what? The poll this morning is exactly the same. It's pretty much 50-50. 50% of people want Branthwaite and 50% of people want De Ligt. I'm personally going with Branthwaite. De Ligt's injury record worries me. If he was cheap, great, go and do it. But he's not cheap. 50 million is not cheap, plus add-ons. And the other thing as well you have to consider, which I didn't mention before, is De Ligt will want much higher wages than Branthwaite. I think Branthwaite was asking for about 100, 150, whereas De Ligt was more around 200. So you have to look at it like that. Even though they're going to cost the same amount of money, over a 5-year contract, De Ligt's probably going to cost you 2.5 million a season more on wages. So over 5 years, that's like, 12.5 million pounds more in wages. So they're not really the same price. But I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you very much for joining me on the show this morning. It's been an amazing stream. Please make sure to smash a like on the video before you go. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's get to 31,400. We can do it. We're one away. Why not? Go and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll be back at 1:30 for a lunchtime roundup. There will obviously be the watch along for the game against Rangers. So there's going to be lots of content on the channel today. Make sure you get involved. Drop a like. Get in the comment section. And make sure you subscribe as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a good morning. And everyone, I'll speak to you all in a few hours. Bye for now. Bye-bye.